So I got quite a few questions from you on various social media platforms. So here I am answering them. I'm going to go straight in with the first one. Where did you actually meet Brendan? It may be hard to believe, but it was a chance meeting and you saw us meet on the video. Those of you who haven't seen the video that are watching this, I will link it down below. I was coming out of a choir rehearsal for Music and Offices in Devonshire Square, and they don't have a piano in that room, so I was leading it from the guitar, hence why I had the guitar with me. It is not my first choice of instrument to accompany myself or others with, but I can play it well enough to be able to get through a few songs. So I was talking to someone in the choir as we came out, and Brendan was sitting at the piano, asked if I wanted to have a sing, and that was it. That's how we met. Are you Roman Catholic? Thanks, John. I'm not. No, I'm not religious, but I adore sacred music. It is the best type of music in my opinion. I do say that about a lot of things. I remember one of my lecturers at university saying, my favourite piece of music is the one I'm currently working on. I think that is true to some extent. You rediscover things about old pieces that you loved, or you discover new music, and so it all changes throughout. But sacred music is a very big part of my my career and my passion. You're a gifted artist. What drew you to your profession? Thank you, that's really kind. Music was always in my life. I wasn't very academic at school, so it was always music. I just didn't know which part of music it was that I wanted to go into, and it just developed quite organically from there. When were you first attracted to classical music, and what made you want to be an opera singer? I can't actually remember the first time I heard classical music. It was always around, so I didn't know anything different, really. Singing opera is just one tiny bit of what I do professionally. A majority of my time is spent working as a choral conductor and a vocal coach for individuals and doing workshops, things like that. Opera I came into incredibly late. It was my current singing teacher. Shout out to David Jones baritone, who is the most incredible teacher I've ever had. And before that, I'd had a lot of people telling me, oh, your voice is perfect for Baroque music or folk songs because it's quite small. And then I got asked to do an opera gala by someone in one of my choirs, went to David and said, I need so much help, I cannot sing opera, I don't know what I'm going to do. And from there, he just completely opened up my voice. I absolutely love singing opera. It's fantastic, mostly because you can become such a diva when you sing it. It's so much fun. And it was wonderful to learn how to just let my voice go. And opera allows you to do that in a way that other music doesn't sometimes. Do you work for a church? No, I don't. I have deputised for people in churches before, places like St Pancras, church near Euston, and various places like that. So I have sung in church services, but I don't work for a church week to week. What prep work do you do before starting a piece of music with a choir? Is it the same process every time? About how much time does it take? Too many questions. Well, if it's a new piece of music, I like to go through it with the score without any preconceptions of what other conductors or artists have done with it. Running through, making sure I see tempo markings, dynamics, time signature changes, all of the major things, transitions, entry points, various things like that. Then go through it again, trying to find various things that the choir will find or could find difficult. It could be entries, it could be rhythms, certain vowels as well. And because I spent so long being a technically quite bad singer, luckily it's quite useful now, so that I can go through and think, oh, actually I'd find that quite difficult, so they probably will. Various things like that. Then I like to listen to quite a few different recordings, mostly because I like to see what other people have done with it after I've already formed my own opinion, and then I can say, oh, that's an interesting way they've done that, I wonder why, and it starts me asking questions again of, have I interpreted it in the right way? Sometimes I'll listen to a recording and say, that's completely the wrong tempo for me, I don't like that, I'm not taking that. But then I'll listen to another one and think, I love the way they've done that, I'm going to use that in my performance. Apart from that, it's how am I going to make this particular piece work with this particular choir? And that's when you start preparing for the rehearsals themselves. What warm-ups am I going to do? I tend to do warm-ups that are completely based on what we're going to be working on in that rehearsal. So if there's a section where there's a huge amount of big intervals and they're going to be jumping all over the place, I'll do a lot of connection exercises in the warm-ups, and how to prepare for these higher notes, how to make sure we don't collapse when we go down onto the lower ones. If it's a rhythmic thing, I'll include that rhythm in the warm-ups. When I approach a new piece and I don't know it, then yes, the process is pretty much the same every time. When I know a piece already, so for example, I'm doing Vaughan Williams' Mass in G minor with my choir in Milton Keynes, Polymnia. I've already conducted this piece with the London Concord Singers a few years ago, so I know the piece already. So my job this time was to go back through it, remind myself of all the things that I'd gone through previously, but also how is it going to change now I'm working with a different choir? They have different abilities, different things they find easy and difficult. So it's mostly the rehearsal process plans that change, rather than me getting to know the piece. About how much time does it take? How long is a piece of string? Yeah, I remember at the very start of my career, I followed this rule of at least 1 hour per minute of music should be preparation time before you get in a room with the choir. And that is based on never hearing the piece again before, not knowing what it's like, and not really knowing what the choir can do. Sometimes I go far beyond that. I spend at least 2 hours per minute of music if it's a really tricky one. A lot of the time it can be a bit less because we recycle music. We do, as I said, I've done Mass in G minor before, I'm doing it again. It takes a little bit less time to do that initial process. So it really is how long is a piece of string. It depends on the piece of music, it depends on the choir. Have I done it before? Have they done it before? Sometimes if a choir has done a piece before but they've done it with someone else, it can take just as long, if not longer, to get it properly prepared in rehearsals. Because they have preconceptions and they've sung it in a way, possibly with technique that I haven't taught them. Could be back when they weren't breathing as well or they weren't connecting as well, and you have to undo a few bits and bobs. So yes, it does completely change. So I think that is it for the questions that I've had. If you have any more, then do feel free to get in touch. And if we get quite a few comments, then I'll do a part 2 video. If not, then I will make sure that I answer you in the comments as well. If there's anything else you'd like to see on the channel, just pop it in the comments below. And yes, have a lovely weekend, everyone.